Hey guys, check this out. I came across this new product a few months ago, Scholl Concepts. That is the name of the company. They're based in Germany. They literally are a German company. It's not one of those, German labeled companies that are actually made here in the US of A. So S20 Black, they label it as their real one-step compound. Real versus what, artificial? Doesn't really matter. I just know I love this product. I've mentioned it in a few videos. I thought I would take the time to make a dedicated video. I've got a test subject out here in the sun. I wanted to make an introduction here because once I go out there, now I'm exposed to some of the breeze and the sun, and it becomes a little more problematic with the audio. So, and here's a sample of one of their pads. This is a little tiny 3-inch pad. It's called the spider pad because it's got all these grooves cut into it in a, I don't know what you want to call that pattern, horizontal and vertical grooves cut into it. Now, as a professional mobile detailer, my needs and wants are going to be different than a professional detailer that's operating out of a shop. I have to work in the direct sunlight most of the time. I'm working on location at people's homes. I am subject to the weather elements unlike that of a shop. So my needs and wants are going to be different than other guys. So I'm speaking from my experience. So when I'm looking at a new product, ultimately I want it to be able to perform. And right there, that word perform is like, well, Darren, what does that mean? Well, you fill in the blank what performance means to you. For me, it's going to be things like, okay, what's the user experience? What are the end results that I can achieve with this? What are the limitations of the product? So it's going to be just different things, and it's going to be subjective, which means based on personal opinion. So, performance, cost, can I use it in the direct sunlight? And just so you know, virtually every product is going to say use it in a cool or use it on cool shaded surface. But I know because of modern chemical engineering that I can finesse virtually any product. Great, we got Johnny Trashman. There's always a Johnny lurking around the corner ready to interrupt the video. I know I can finesse virtually any product to make it work in the sun. It's just responding appropriately. What do I mean by appropriately? Well, it's kind of like dressing for the weather. If it's freezing outside, you're going to put on more layers of clothes. If it's really, really hot, you're going to put on less layers of clothes. It's really that simple. You just respond based on the conditions in which you're forced to work in. So this, I've tested it on many types of cars, many color types, and it really can perform. So I'm going to take you out. I've got a blue 2015 Ford Mustang. It's a rental car. It's already had some body work done onto it. Some of the crappiest body work I've ever seen. It's heavily spider webbed up. I've already prepped the surface. I decontaminated it. So I want to show it to you in the direct sunlight, despite the fact that this says to use it on a cool shaded surface. The cutting power on this says heavy. The gloss level on this says extreme, as in extremely good. And it can remove 2,000 grit sanding marks. One-step compound. Something else about the Scholl Concepts is that they, as a company, look incredibly impressive. You can see by this how they go into great detail in matching up the right polish or compound or wax with the right pad. So there's all different layers of it. And something that I've noticed within the industry is that most manufacturers seem to be formulating what's called one-step compounds and polishes. It's kind of the complete 180, because back, a few years ago, it was all about like this endless lineup of polishes. It's like, okay, we've got 4 different stages. You start here with this compound, it's the most aggressive, and then you finish with this. You've got 3 different pads, and it's like, wow, okay. So they've just figured out 7 different ways to separate me from my money. Now I can essentially do a one-step polish, and that's different than an all-in-one, which is a cleaner, polish, and paint protection, like a wax. That's different than an all-in-one. This is a one-step, which means that you can take it and perform pretty aggressive level of compounding and also polishing at the same time, which are 2 different things. Compounding is like the heavy lifting. Polishing is enhancing the gloss and finish. And that's what it means by a one-step, is that you can go through all those different levels of paint correction and not have to keep changing out 2, 3, 4 different types of polishes and compounds. So you can take this from start to finish, and then your last step is however you're choosing to seal the paint, whether it's a wax, a sealant, or a coating. And here we have our test subject, 2015 Ford Mustang metallic blue. I'm going to try, and I'm shooting this in HD by the way, I'm going to try to show you the spider webbing that is present, and I'm going to be polishing right on this panel because it is the hottest panel based on the direction of the sun. And just to verify that, we'll take my Ryobi or Ryobi, however you want to label that, and we have 140 degrees. Okay, 140 degrees. Let's try this panel. $140 degrees. Let me pan across this hood so you can see the spider webbing going on. Now this is a rental car, so I'm not going to take the normal precautions, and I'm going to start out with a wool pad. If I was going to really do aggressive paint correction to perfection, I'd be taping off these high points, but I really just want to demonstrate the product itself and just how user-friendly it is and how it really can perform. So as I said, this paint has been decontaminated. I've done an alcohol, what's called an ISP, which stands for isopropyl. It's essentially just rubbing alcohol mixed with half rubbing alcohol and half water to remove any wax or grease or anything else, to really expose the paint for all its flaws and blemishes. And over here, this is my buffing configuration and setup. I keep everything contained in here. My different assortment of polishes here that are separated by this little rack. I keep my buffer pads here. These are different types of wool pads. I've got my foam pads and different backing plates here. I like to keep them face down so that they don't like get reconfigured by pressing up against something. I've got all my different types of tapes lined up here. They all serve unique purposes. I've got my cleaning brush for like my foam pads. I've got my metal spur for my wool pads. I'm not going to bust out my grit guard pad washer for this one. And then I've got my 3 types of polishers here. I've got the Griots, the Rupes Bigfoot 21 millimeter, and I've got my DeWalt variable speed rotary polisher. And I'm start with this. This is the most aggressive with a wool cutting pad. This is as aggressive as it gets. You can see the polish on it. It's not too much. And one of the complaints I would have with Scholl's is that this bottle of polish, it is really hard to dispense from. Whoa, that was messy. So I put it into this self-cleaning pop top bottle that every time you pop it down it self-cleans, so this is far more user-friendly. So there's my polish. Now speed setting, this will dial down from all the way down to 600 RPMs, which is very low, all the way up to 3,500 RPMs. As a rule, when I'm doing that initial cutting, I like to keep it about 1,000 to 1,200 RPMs. Right now, I'm going to set it for 1,200 RPMs. Now remember, this is on a paint that is 140 degrees hot. But just so you know, the rotary does not have to be as scary as you think it is. Here it's just one hand. Yes, am I having to control it? Yes. Do I have experience? Yes. So the only reason I demonstrate that is because there's so much hype in the industry that I guarantee there's guys sitting on the fence that are just, as I say, frozen with anxiety because they hear so much endless chatter about the do's and don'ts. So the simple answer is you just pick a buffer, you pick a pad, you pick a polish that you've read the reviews on, that you've come to the conclusion that, yes, I want to try that. And just try it. But you just approach it. It's kind of like testing the water. You just kind of tiptoe into it. So you don't go level 10 and just lay into it. You just rest it on the paint. You set it at the lowest speed, 600. And you just get a feel for it. And then maybe you increase the speed to 1,000. You get a feel for that. All the while you're testing for results. So now that I've done my initial cut, which did not take long, and I'm not trying to take this to perfection, many compounds at this point would leave heavy holograms or swirl marks. Here I have my, yes, in fact, my Costco microfiber cloth. Why does Darren use Costco brand? Because they're cheap. They're very economical. When they're virgin, as in never been touched or defiled, they're very soft and incredibly safe. And I know in the industry, there's many people that would think I'm a hack for even touching one of these, never mind being seen on worldwide YouTube as using a microfiber as a Costco microfiber. But they work. Like a lot of things, you can either use it in a safe, efficient manner, or you can be completely challenged and use it in a manner that is going to produce an undesirable result. So notice how easily that came off of hot paint. To me, I'm already impressed, okay? So let me show you the new results. And here we have, I would call that about 95%. I mean, honestly, 99% of my customers would come out and look at this and knowing that I don't even have wax on this, by the way. So when I apply wax, it's even going to look better. But they would come out and look at this and think, oh my gosh, Darren, you're a miracle worker. Because if you look right over here and you can see all the spider webbing, here there's like almost no trace of spider webbing. There's probably about, like I said, I would put this at about 90, somewhere between 90 to 95% perfection for the real world. Now I know there's still blemishes. If I was to put this under the right lighting and really scrutinize it, I could still find blemishes, of course. But in the real world, impressive. Now I could force this compound or polish to produce far more holograms if I wanted to, but I don't. And if I scan back and forth, I can see slight holograms in the paint. But once again, I'm using a wool pad, 1200 RPMs, rotary polisher, direct sunlight, Those are all like faux pas of the industry. Those are all do not do this, do not attempt this moments. And yet I can do it and get these kind of results, which is why already this product gets the Darren stamp of approval. So let me switch buffers on us, and I'm going to switch to my Rupe's Bigfoot 21 millimeter. And thank you, Brian from Baltimore. This was a gift from one of my friends that I am in contact with that reached out through my YouTube channel. Here we have a slightly used, actually it's more than slightly used, I've polished quite a few cars with this spider pad, which is also a Scholl Concept pad. At this point, my goal is to remove any trace hologramming and take it to that next level of perfection. So let's say, and I'm just going to reach up my backside, pull a number out. Let's say right now the paint's at 90%. I can finish this paint now to within 95 to 98% of perfection with this last little step using a DA. Could I myself do it with a rotary? Yes, I could if I switched to a foam pad. But for a beginner, the DA is such a user-friendly piece of equipment that literally I could teach someone in under 30 seconds how to use it and do a great job. So just get one, try it out, you'll love it. Because just accept that you're going to be buying more products and tools in the future. It's just a given. Here I'm going to apply basically 4 spots of polish. And yes, I have my McGuire's apron on. We can all bask in that moment of irony. I'm going to set this at a speed setting of 4.5. That wipes off in the direct sun, and damn, I want to wet myself. And I've been doing this 25 plus years, and I look at this paint and it's like, okay, I need to go change my drawers because this looks amazing. And yes, we've got some wind going on now. It's going to affect this audio. So let's take another flyover and check it out for results. So here we have the finished product, and as we move up the hood, you can start seeing the spider webbing, and I'm only assuming that it's showing up in film because it's certainly showing up here. And now I'm seeing no holograms whatsoever. Like I said, my customers, as a rule, would literally come out and wet themselves. Okay, literally. Hopefully when they come out, they happen to be wearing their Depends and they're not going to soil themselves all the way through. Now, in staying with the spirit of paint correction and the endless wormhole that this subject can be, now the subject will automatically segue into fillers. Yeah, Darren, does that have a bunch of fillers in it? Did it really do the pink correction, or did you just fill in the blemishes? Well, this is where I have my IPA, my isopropyl rubbing alcohol solution, half rubbing alcohol, half water. And this will remove any of the fillers or waxes, silicones, whatever may be in that polish. This is going to remove it so that it will reveal, wow, classic. And guess what? Check out that finish. I mean, dude, I kid you not, that is impressive. I mean, if you're not impressed, and once again, I don't know how much of this is going to show up. I'm shooting in high definition this time. I can only imagine, but here in real life, and what sucks about working on metallics is that the metallic flakes will pick up the lighting and sometimes create this really bad reaction when you're trying to film it. But here in real life, it's like, damn. See why I love this product so much? And their pad, I mean, seriously, this is impressive. And once again, 140 degrees, direct sunlight, folks. So imagine if you're in a shop on a cool shaded surface. I mean, I don't know how much easier it's going to get anyways, because you saw how easily I was able to perform this in this type of conditions. So there we go. What I want to do next is do the old infamous 50-50 shot. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to paint correct. How about if I paint correct this side, and I'm showing you the before over here. Obviously there's my line of demarcation, so I'll paint correct this, take it to perfection, and then show you the direct side-by-side comparison. Now, because I don't want to be a complete asshole, as in the rental mentality, I am going to take caution because I am going to be very aggressive. And maybe it is showing up, but there is some actual deeper scratches all in through here. Now, if I was really going to make this flawless, I would bust out some sandpaper in order to remove these, because I don't know if these will be able to truly be removed with a wool pad. And I don't know if they're showing up or not, but there's some additional deeper scratches through here. And I don't want to burn the edges. I want to, once again, apply or go about a risky proposition with as little risk as possible. So I'm going to tape up the edges, and this is where you have to systematically break down panel by panel and see what is required for that. What you can't tell is that first half I was applying pressure, maybe about, if I had to guess, 7 pounds of pressure. And then the second half I backed off so that just the weight of the buffer and just enough to control it was doing it. And that's kind of taking it from aggressive to a little less aggressive. So let's examine the results. So wipe it off. My rubbing alcohol with a wool pad, direct sunlight, and it's like, damn. Okay, I would put this at And I'm not even seeing any holograms. I would put it at about 95 to 98% corrected. So we have after and then before. Okay, now I can see a hologram right through here. Okay, so I'm going to put this, I guess on closer inspection, I'm going to put it more like 92 to 95% based on who's scrutinizing it. And once again, Johnny average customer would look at that as like perfection right there. Now the rupees set on a level 4.5. I'm going to flip my cloth over so as to not have it, the wet side with the ISP mix. Wipe it off. Come in for a closer inspection. Now you can see the reflection of the sun. Is it perfect? No, it is not, folks. Was I shooting for perfection? No, I was not, folks. But I am shooting for, really what I shoot for is 90 to 95% in my world. Because I know that my 90 to 95% is going to be 100% for most people. So that's what I shoot for. Unless, of course, a customer is willing to pay top dollar and really has deep pockets and can truly appreciate making paint flawless. This paint is not flawless. For most people, looking back at it though, it is going to look virtually flawless. So let's peel this off. Shoot, I could do a whole series of videos just on taping proper, well, whether you want to call it proper or not. How about just taping techniques? Because there is a strategy that should be and can be applied every step of the way. See, damn, that looks good. And now you can actually see my tape mark, and because I overlapped, it actually got a little bit of polishing action going here. So this paint was actually improved slightly over here, but you can really see that line of demarcation right here where the tape was. So after and before. And then you pull back, and if the whole car could look like that section, dope.